Welcome back to Save the World.
Save the World with David and Aaron, your faithful, tired, kind of out of it duo.
We're going to apologize for a couple of things here in advance really quickly. First of all, we're not in a sound booth today. We're actually in my classroom. And so hopefully the audio quality isn't too bad. We're trying to do everything we can to mitigate extra noises and things like that. But just if you hear little sounds here and there, we apologize. That's the ghost that haunts my classroom that you just heard. Don't mind him. We asked him to leave beforehand. The other thing to apologize for is that me and Aaron are both kind of loopy and out of it today.
This is no. I'm normal, and David's a little out of it. I think that's what's going on. That sounds more like it.
For the listeners, just to understand, I started my first week of teaching this week, and I love teaching, and it's awesome. But it also brings along with it a new sleeping schedule and the germs of hundreds of students that enter your classroom. So my voice is a little lower and more zombie-like than normal. So I also apologize for that. And thus, I'm a little bit more loopy and out of it.
New sleep schedule, new bunch of people have to talk a lot more regularly, and then like kids, and it's okay. It's okay. They'll understand. Right, people?
I hope so.
You better understand. Or else Tesla's going to come get you.
Yes.
Tesla, the tiger that roams this classroom.
Aaron is very mystified by the many things in my classroom, including my stuffed tiger that I have named Tesla, who guards my fridge so students don't take things out of it. He is a stuffed toy, but I was hoping that someday he'd come to life and actually guard the fridge.
That would be amazing. If he just stood up one day, that would be perfect. I would love it.
Be like Pinocchio, right?
Yeah.
He could dream of being a real tiger.
I'm a real tiger. It's perfect. As for now, though, Tesla is just an adorable tiger.
Aaron is currently holding him, by the way, for those that are wondering. He's much akin to this small stuffed toy animal.
Yes. Yes. It reminds me of good days.
When you played with tigers?
Yeah. Yeah, that day I roamed with the tigers. I flew out to Asia somewhere. Had to walk with some Bengal tigers, and there was a whole herd of them. So.
And you just stood in the midst of them and
yes.
bare-chested, and they accepted you as one of their own.
I did have to put contacts in to make my eyes look a little bit cooler, but other than that, yep. They saw me for the tiger that I have inside, so it seems reasonable.
The tiger that you naturally are on the inside.
Yes. I realized something. Listening to our previous recordings, we're so long-winded.
Yeah,
we talk about things forever. I was like,
We did good in the first episode. We were pretty swift. And then we got more and more as time went on, just long-winded about certain topics.
Right. It's just, yeah. It's okay. It's not a problem because I don't owe you listeners anything, so I guess, well, no.
Be careful what you say right now, Aaron, while you're kind of out of it.
That's true.
You may regret the things you say.
I apologize in advance for all comments, but mostly for that comment. I'm sorry, listeners. I owe you at least a laugh or two.
That's how we can repay them, right?
Yeah.
Making the podcast enjoyable.
If they decide to listen, at least it should be halfway interesting and at least fill some time. So, is this episode 6?
This is.
We're on 6. Wow. 6 episodes.
I can't believe we've been doing it for that long.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
In some ways, it feels like a lot longer than it is. Like, I'm like, only 6 episodes? Like, how long have we been doing it? For months. We've been doing this for months. It feels like.
You're saying it just drags on for you, Aaron?
On and on. I dread every other week when we go to record.
Now that is not true.
It's not. I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
Aaron's the one that's texting me if I'm like 3 minutes late. He's like, "Where are you at? Come on, man. Can't be late."
Late for the podcast? How could you?
Well, should we start with some follow-up?
Yes.
So I think the first item of business is after we recorded all the stuff about roller coasters and amusement parks last time, right after we were done, you and I both realized we missed a very important part of theme parks that needs to be discussed and solved. Well, I guess one problem well solved, and the fact that, well, let's just talk about it. It's hard to describe. So the problem is related to the incident where I lost my hat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to hold my hat between my knees. I should have sat on it like we talked about. Mm-hmm. But fortunately, I didn't lose anything else because of this magical invention called cargo pants. And that is pretty much the only way to go to an amusement park these days, is to be wearing cargo pants.
I agree. Just 100% cargo pants are the way of the future. They're not fashionable yet, but like we talked about, if we just make them the only things available, then it'll be fashionable.
Well, I mean, you probably have more uses for them than I do.
Yeah.
Specifically in amusement parks. They are nice because they have the Velcro for holding in all your stuff, like your keys and your wallet and such. And that's incredibly useful in places where there's extreme amounts of G-force in random directions. That's useful for holding in things. You move around more in your job, so cargo pants are probably nice because you're constantly not losing stuff.
Right.
As you're, well, not losing stuff, but dropping stuff on the floor and that type of thing.
Plenty of stuff to hold and plenty of stuff to keep with me. That's the thing that I like most about cargo pants is the sheer number of pockets. As my pants have 2 on back, 2 on front, 2 more on front, and then like 2 on the sides, and I can just hold like all the things I need for the day. And this directly relates to the problem that I have with theme parks, is that short of putting a backpack in your pants, which is cargo pants, that's what I mean when I say that. It's cargo pants. Those are backpack pants. Short of putting backpack pants on, there's no way to carry stuff in a park.
Yeah.
You just take David and I, for example. We go to the park and say we don't want to pay a lot of money for food, or say we've got water bottles that we want to be carrying, or it's just any reason. Not everything fits in the cargo pants all the time. And that's a huge problem, because when you want to go on a roller coaster, but there's only 2 of you, you're not going to ask some random stranger to hold your stuff. How do you keep your stuff? Cargo pants are amazing. The Velcro pockets are perfect. I actually just thought of something that would be perfect for regular pants wearers.
Okay.
So you can get a pocket with Velcro on it, and just take the pocket by itself and strap it, put straps on the top and bottom of it, and strap it to your leg to simulate the cargo pants pocket.
For all those circumstances where you were wishing you were wearing cargo pants, but you are not.
Exactly. They'd be easy to put on, easy to take off, and you just slap it on your leg, and you have cargo pants. Kind of on.
Aaron, I must admit, you and I are taking this 2 totally different directions. I've been thinking about this totally differently.
How have you been thinking about it?
Because you were looking at very specific cases of making more things like cargo pants.
Well, yeah.
And I felt like cargo pants are the temporary solution for a bigger problem at amusement parks.
Oh.
But I should have seen this, because I know how much you love your cargo pants. I mean, we had almost a half an hour discussion last time about the beautiful pants that you have.
Yes, my beautiful
knee pads,
pants.
insets, and everything.
That's because they're amazing. They're just the best.
So,
I don't know.
I should have seen this coming. This was a bad call on my part.
You had an intended path for our conversation, and I just took that path, and I just derailed it off to the side, off somewhere else you didn't want to go. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I feel like, unfortunately, not everyone in the world shares your beautiful love of cargo pants, your devoted, self-proclaimed love of cargo pants. So I feel like a more general solution is, well, I guess not more general. Most people need cargo pants at amusement parks, but they don't always have them, right?
Right.
And so you and I talked about an idea for lockers that you had
Please.
for the listener. So do you want to describe that?
Yes, please.
For the listeners.
I was thinking about this. I have to.
Tesla the Tiger is being put to take a nap on my science table.
I just temperatures are heating up for me. Getting excited, that's why. All the fans are spinning up inside my head and all the calculus is running and I'm ready to go. So, lockers. This bothered me to no end because, like I was just saying, you've got backpacks, you've got things that you want to keep with you during the day. And when you go into the park, there's lockers at the entrance that you can rent for like $5 or $10 or whatever. And you go put your stuff in the locker. But the problem that I have there, that everyone, not just me, everyone has, is that you have to go back to the entrance of the park to get your stuff out of the locker. And then you carry it around with you all day. Like, you can't keep it with you. I'm one for keeping stuff with me. My backpack's always like full of stuff that I want, that I like think I'll need.
Right.
I'm kind of an over-preparer at times, and that's a different problem we can talk about later. But so there's lockers at the entrance that you can use, but those aren't very good, and they cost money. It's no good. I don't like it. The time that you need a locker is right before you get on the ride and right after you get off the ride. That's when you need a locker. And so the idea is, as you're going through the queue line, before you get to the ride, but after the queue line starts, but before you get to the ride, at some point, there's a set of lockers. There's a wall of lockers with one side on the queue line and one side facing out of the queue line. So when you're going through that part of the queue, you can turn, you hop off into this area, you open up a locker, you set your stuff in, you close the locker, and you lock it somehow. And you go on the ride. You take your backpack, put it in the locker, close the locker, get on the ride. Everything's great. And then after you get off the ride, you can come back through after you exit, go back to the locker station, and open up the other side. You put doors on both sides of the locker. You open up the other side of the locker and pull your backpack the rest of the way through. It's like a storage area, a storage place for your stuff because you need somewhere to keep the stuff.
I agree. I feel like this would be very effective. I feel like...
Does that make any sense?
No, that makes total sense.
Okay. I feel like I was explaining it. I was like, oh.
Basically, in order to not clog up the locker areas, because some rides do have them, and most of the times they're often paid for. First of all, they need to be free because you already paid so much to get into the park. This should be a service that is just available.
Seriously, I think it's nonsense that they charge for any more than like a quarter is just ridiculous. Like, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and the idea you're talking about is so that you don't have to clog up the same side of the lockers for people going in and out. You have two sides of them. And, I mean, a lot of the rides are set up that way where there's an entrance side of the ride and there's an exit side of the ride. You could just put that locker set as almost like the barrier, and then you pull the stuff through on the other side. I was thinking about it. A lot of parks that have used this, or I've seen use this, have like key codes when they have lockers.
Yeah.
But then you have to like remember the key code that you put in or whatever it may be. And if you're willing to keep just like your phone secured on the ride, you could even use like QR codes or something like that. You scan the locker and it syncs with your phone, so you have to have that phone to open up the locker.
Okay.
And that way you don't have to memorize anything and no one else can try and like break in. It's just synced with the device that you have. You can even do like watches. I guess they have to have the phone though for a lot of smart watches to do that.
Okay. Yeah.
But if you could just hold on to your phone then it would really make the access system nice.
Right. Here's an idea. What about, I mean, maybe it's not a good idea. Maybe that's not a great idea. So I learned this. A lot of parks actually don't let you have your phone on rides, like at all, period. I guess the park we went to is a little bit different in that you can have stuff in your pockets and on the ride more often than not. What if you just had like your debit card or something that you could swipe? Because that's like unique and it only identifies to you, and you can just keep it in your pocket. It's flat, it stays in your pocket well, and you just pull it out and then it opens up the locker, it opens up the locker. You put your stuff in, close the locker, come around, swipe it again, and the locker opens.
I think a lot of people would be hesitant to be swiping their card, though.
I know. That was
I agree that that's a
hesitation as
totally great way to identify, and
Yeah.
a lot of people and a lot of organizations do use debit cards.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of, like, for example, there's a lot of concerts that people
Okay.
go to where they can purely identify you off your debit card that you paid the tickets for.
Right, that makes sense, yeah.
And so I think that makes sense, and people are willing to do that at concerts because they already paid for the tickets.
That's true.
But I think a lot of people would be confused if it was supposed to be a free locker and they're using their debit card to identify. You know what I mean?
Like, I don't know.
I thought this was free. You know?
You just have to put free on every single locker in really big letters, so that as they're swiping, it's like, you will not be charged. It's free. Here's an idea. Better. Your fingerprint. That's
I think that you're going worse down this end of people not feeling safe with what information they're giving away.
yeah.
Plus,
true.
you know how long it takes to do the like sweeping of your fingerprint to make sure it can only be yours.
No.
It takes a while.
Oh.
You have to do like 5 scans and things like
Oh.
that to make it statistically significant that it's going to be your fingerprint. Anyways, I don't think that would work either, unfortunately. You could. There's one got you on this, but let's try this out.
Okay.
What if you, like, for example, when my family went to Disney World, you can buy these things called like magic bands or something. They have some, Disney name.
Yeah.
And they're little bands you can put on your wrist, and they're connected to your phone and your credit card and everything you need.
Oh, yeah.
So you can actually pay for food with them, and you can save. This is a really cool part. You could go to, like, when they take the photos on the rides of you and your family and stuff, like everyone screaming and all that.
Yeah.
They'll show you those pictures afterwards on the little screens. To save them to your email, you just scan a little button near that photo, and it connects to your magic band and knows that's your photo, and then it saves it to your email and all this type of stuff. So they were really sweet. They were really cool.
Yeah.
But those cost extra.
Okay.
And every park doesn't have a ton of things that you would need, like the magic band for.
Right.
They're not taking a lot of photos or that type of stuff. Unlike Disneyland, where that's like almost the whole experience is like the family type atmosphere.
Right.
But
that makes sense.
What if you could put everything in the locker, and inside the locker is a little wristband that you put on? So you take the wristband out of the locker. It's associated with that locker.
Swap the wristband.
Swap the wristband for the stuff. You go on the ride with the wristband. You come out. You scan the wristband, take your stuff, and then put the wristband back in the locker, and then the locker is unlocked for the next person.
That's an idea.
The only difficulty is making sure people remember
To put the wristband
to take
back,
the wristband
right.
off.
I think that's going to be our biggest. I think that's the downfall of that idea, because in my mind it's processing a whole lot of people, and so there's a high probability of people leaving the wristband, and then you have to like reprogram the locker to the wristband, and then eventually you just don't have any more wristbands for the locker for the day.
Right.
How much extra were those bands?
They were like $15 per person.
Okay,
Or something like that.
I'm sure you could make a cheaper one and like have like a deposit on it. So like it definitely, you could make it cost $5. So the cost of the price to get into the park, make it cost $5 for this pass, this wristband. And then you keep the wristband, but it's like a more reusable type of wristband. Like it's just kind of a generic, and they just scan it in for you.
Right.
And then you can go through the park with your wristband, or it's just a generic. It doesn't even have to be connected to you at all.
Right.
Because it's just your wristband.
But it's just a unique identifier.
Right. And then at the end of the day, when you bring back the wristband, you give them the wristband, and they check it back into the database and refund you your money, your $5. So anyone who does take it, they don't lose money for people who accidentally forget to take the wristband, or don't remember to take the wristband off, and people who intentionally take the wristband. You never lose the money for those people.
Right.
But regular citizens don't have to pay any extra to use the locker system that every park needs for everything.
Right. Interesting. I like that idea. That's just kind of, it comes with the ticket.
Yeah.
So that you just wear it throughout the day and you can check in and out of lockers. I'm trying to think of what else you could use it for. Well, without having to like connect your
right. If
credit card
we're just
information.
keeping it generic. I mean, it'd be easy enough to connect. Like, it's not that hard to sync those things. I would think. Like in my head, it's not that hard of a problem.
I've worked with that technology before. It's pretty simple.
See, we got a man who understands these things here with us, and he says it's easy. It's easy.
If you start having to put your debit card information on it, I think people would be resistant. And
yeah, maybe.
Well,
yeah.
it would start becoming a solution to more things than we need it to be.
Right.
Because it could be like what Disney has, where it's synced to everything.
And
you can buy anything with your debit card with it and that type of stuff. But I think simplicity of access to your stuff for lockers is all we need it to be for most parks.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, because then you can keep your stuff with you, and so it's not a bother to go pay for stuff anyway because you still have your wallet with you, even though you don't have to carry it onto your rides because you've got a wristband. It's perfect.
I got one more possible solution here.
Okay.
A little less humane, I guess you could say.
Humane, David? What is the solution? I'm a little worried now. I'm a little scared. Like,
so if we don't want to put it at the beginning of the park and have this system, we just want to keep it with the lockers.
Yeah.
What if we made sure people don't lose the wristband by having the locker itself, and then just immediately to the left of the locker is like a little hole to stick your arm through, and then like the wristband snaps onto your arm.
What?
And then like you take it out of the hole, you go on the ride, you put your hand into the other hole on the other side. It snaps the wristband off your arm,
And then the locker opens. It just pops open.
Yeah. I don't know how aggressive of a machine you would need to like take a wristband on and off of a person's arm, but
stick your wrist in, and it's calibrated a little too tightly. It just cinches it on. You're just like, oh no!
Plus, it'd be horrifying for that moment where you're like, "Don't rip my arm off! Don't rip my arm off!"
Like, just stick your arm in. It'll be fine. Just try it. Employee does like, oh, that'd be so fun. They could make so many jokes too. They could stick their arm and go, "Wah!" and then nothing actually happens. They're just like, look, see, it's a wristband. And then it'd be funny and good.
If we did do this, it'd have to make a horrifying, like, mechanical crunching sound every time you put your arm in.
Like, no!
But that would solve the problem of not losing the wristband.
Some kind of wristband exchange program where you have to... I don't know. That's not a bad idea. What if you did the same thing, but instead of a machine putting the wristband on and off, what if you just have like a V-shaped channel? So the one side there's the slot. There's a slot for the wristband, and on the other side there's like a hole that you can reach into. So you take the wristband. So you go in, you put your stuff in the locker, you close the locker, you take the wristband out.
Okay.
And it's like proximity. It's got like a proximity sensor or whatever in it. Right. So when you pull it out of the hole, then it locks the door for the locker, and then you have your wristband, you slap it on. And then to get your stuff out of the locker, the wristband's the key. You just put it in the slot where it slides down into where you can grab it again.
But you can't grab it from the other side.
Right, exactly, because the slot's too small. You can't
monkey
your big old monkey hands in there. It just doesn't
interesting.
It doesn't work. And then the proximity sensor, when you put it back in,
unlocks the door.
Yeah, just unlocks the other side.
Unlocks the other side. The only thing I can visualize is that, like...
It would probably unlock both sides. Though.
Yeah, you'd have to unlock both sides. So I can visualize...
unlocks both sides, and someone reaches in, grabs your backpack, and starts running. Like, hey, get back here now!
Yeah. You're always like, all right, ready? There's probably somebody trying to try and steal my stuff.
One person's ready to put the wristband in, and the other person's got the door. And they're like, okay, go. And they go in as fast as they can to get that stuff out of that locker.
Actually, the simpler solution would be it unlocks one side, the side you're grabbing it from. You pull your stuff out, and then you just have an employee like ready to go in case people don't close that backside.
Okay.
So once that backside closes again, then it unlocks the other side because you'd also have to keep the stuff locked.
Oh yeah,
from
it's
the
just
back. So you just have to have an employee like shutting doors.
Yeah,
on the backside.
Sounds like a bummer for that guy, but it's okay.
You could be like
They're getting paid.
You could be like the icy salesman right next to it. You know?
Yeah,
just like kind of yells at people, "Hey, shut your door."
Yeah. We could dress him up in a costume too. That'd be good.
A Tesla the Tiger costume.
Yeah. Just a big old. I'm Tesla the Tiger. You make sure you shut those doors, and somebody doesn't and tackles them. And you didn't shut the door. You need to go shut the door.
Prepare to be maimed by a tiger for your lack of
that was
compliance.
Section 137, subsection F. You just need it. The tiger may tackle you. We're not responsible for any damage that comes of the tiger tackling you. Sorry.
Nice. Well, I think in the short term, cargo pants work pretty well. But in the long term, we do need to figure out this two-way locker system.
Yes. Cargo pants and cargo pocket straps.
I'm still not feeling the straps, but we'll leave that for another time.
It's a great idea. It's okay. Fine. Take my strap. Go somewhere else.
So I do have another bit of follow-up.
Okay. Please do.
And this relates to that one time we were talking about your decision paralysis that comes when you're trying to buy drinks from those fancy machines that have all the options.
Yeah, the freestyle machines where I just sit there and I don't know what to press. Yeah.
So I never suffer from that same complication. But
Okay.
yesterday I went with one of our friends that you know as well, and we went to a Renaissance fair where they have everyone dress up in ye old times clothes and that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm not a big fan, but he's into it, so I agreed to go with him. Yeah, and it was fun. I enjoyed seeing other people do that type of stuff.
Okay,
not myself, but it was kind of fun to see how much people get into it.
Did this person also dress up? Your friend?
Well, he was helping with the fair.
Oh,
so he invited me to come, and he had some other things he had to do while I was there.
I see. Okay,
we just kind of shot the breeze while he was working, and he'd have to stop for a second and go help someone do something and that type of thing.
Okay. So he was all garbed up then.
Yeah, he was dressed up kind of like a Three Musketeer type clothes.
Okay.
Anyways, so the reason I bring this up is they had a root beer station where they have like the old fashioned mugs and the bottles, and that type of thing. And it's just like homemade root beer. It was super good.
Okay, yeah.
But
yummy.
I now think I feel a little bit what you feel when you go to the freestyle machines, because there was only one drink. It was root beer or cream soda.
Okay,
I wanted root beer.
Yeah.
So that part wasn't hard. But they had all the different like styles of mugs and stuff, and you had to actually buy the mug, right, and the bottle the bottle, because they're not disposable. Like they have to sell you the bottle to get the root beer, right? Buying the bottle. So they had all these different styles of bottles and mugs, and they had the system where they'd say to your first time buying it, because you're actually buying the bottle as well. Mm-hmm. The price for your first fill up is like $3 or $4.
Okay.
And then the second time you come back with the same bottle and refill it, it's only like $1 or $2 and that type of thing. So I'm sitting there ready to go get some root beer.
Yeah.
And I just see this huge array of bottles of varying sizes, not labeled.
Really? Okay.
And like not labeled how much they could hold.
Okay.
And it's like, this one is $3 for the first time, but only a $1 refill. And this one's $5 for the first time, but only a $1 refill. And this one's $5 the first time, but a $2 refill. Wow. But they're like all like varying sizes.
Really?
So it was like a really interesting problem for me to just sit there and like, root beer do I actually want? Like, how many times am I going to fill it up? Like, what would be the total cost? So I'm doing this like analysis in my head of like which bottle to buy based on how much root beer I'm assuming I will consume throughout the day.
The mental calculus ball starts rolling, and you're lost in thought as you stare at the mugs and think, oh, which one do I buy?
So I think I had a small glance of what you experienced, because I stood there for about probably 5 minutes, like because not only like if it was a perfectly concrete measurement of like this one's 12 ounces, this one's 24 ounces,
right?
I probably would have been able to do it a little bit faster because I could get some better estimates. But I was also estimating how much each one could hold. So I'm like, okay, how much can this one hold? How much root beer am I thinking I'm going to drink if I have that one? And how much will the total cost be? And so I did like this whole analysis for like 5 minutes.
Right. Just so like, did the numbers relate to the cost of the bottle relate to the size of the bottle? I thought that would be like a pretty clear way to kind of show how much the bottles would hold, but was it just kind of random?
Well, part of it was that I figured out quickly that there was like fancier looking bottles, and they were, based on what I could tell, they were a little bit more expensive for the size they could hold.
Right.
And so again, like I'm just like estimating all these volumes and all this stuff. So I finally just decided the smallest bottle with the cheapest refill was probably the best way to go.
I would think so. I would agree as well. That's what I would do.
And I don't know. Maybe if I went for the big, huge one and just, only refilled it once, it probably would have been cheaper.
They have barrels over to the side, and it's only like $50 to get a barrel full, and you just that's the way to go. If you're at a Renaissance fair, you're getting root beer, you better be drinking it out of a barrel.
Just give me the whole keg in the back.
Yes.
Anyway, so I don't know if that's a problem to be solved. I mean, it's kind of a unique scenario.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to tell you that, to let you know that now I can understand the pain that you experience.
I'm glad you understand now.
But unfortunately, I'm going to be in this scenario much less often than you will be in that scenario.
That's true. A number of times. Yeah, I'm going to be stuck at the freestyle machine a whole lot more time in my life than you did at that one Renaissance fair that you went to. It's okay. It's the price I pay for indecision. Dang.
I guess so. It's so sad.
Just need to make up my
sad
mind.
Reality.
On another note of follow-up, my boss at work was showing me a new app that he downloaded. And this goes back to episode, I don't know. I can't remember. But I think like 2 or 3, where we're talking about the deep learning stuff and CVPR and all the horrifying things you learned at the conference.
Okay.
He showed me an app that he had just recently downloaded. It's like his whole family had started using it, and so I got to hear about it, and I was getting paid to hear about it, so it's not too bad. But
it's always a benefit.
Yes. But it's an app. It's called the Face app. Just like no spaces and capital A for app, Face app. And what you do with it is you take pictures of your face. You take like a selfie. Okay. And then it's got all this stuff to modify your face to make you look like really. There's one that makes you look really old, and one that makes you look like a girl, and one that makes you look like a guy if you're a girl, and one that makes you look all wrinkly, and one that like they just change like the way your face looks. And some of them like look ridiculous, and you're like, that's ridiculous. So some of them were kind of terrifying. I was like, that is so scary. He was showing me one picture of a picture he took of his face, and he did the like make himself look old thing, and he was like, that looks kind of scarily like my dad. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. So on the topic of applications to help the general public learn,
right,
I found one. Face app.
Well, good. I'm glad that's being developed. I have one important question though.
Okay.
Is turn yourself into Nicolas Cage one of the options on that app? Because that'd be glorious.
Not yet. I wish it was. That would be pretty much the best. But no, I don't think it was.
Okay. Well, I'll have to check it out. I'm glad. It was basically the solution we had talked about, right? You just gotta make trendy apps that show the world that this stuff can happen.
Yeah.
So.
they heard us. Now they're listening. They're listening to us, and they know the solution.
I think that's exactly what happened.
Within
Couple weeks.
couple weeks, they developed an app and made it widely popular, and
Yeah.
it's easy. See, they did it. Anyone can do it. It's not that hard.
Yeah. I'm glad people are implementing our advice. It's obviously being well heard. So this is good.
They didn't do it for us people. That's not why they do that.
I think the listeners knew that. But just in case you didn't realize
just
that,
in case you didn't know.
our influence on the world is not quite that large yet. It's getting there. It's close. So last time, right, we have a lot of follow-up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
There's plenty to
going
talk
back
about.
to last time, we talked a little bit about the zero waste movement
Yeah.
and some of the things that lady was doing in her videos.
Yeah. Who didn't save that trash bag, that bread bag? Didn't save any bread bags? Yep.
That was very coherent, Aaron.
Yeah. Don't you worry, David. All I'm here is for.
I'm
Just
tempted.
keep talking. Just keep talking.
I'm tempted not to cut anything from this episode, just so people can hear how loopy we are today.
I mean, I wouldn't mind, but
The listeners probably would.
they. Nah. Maybe.
Anyways, so we were talking about that zero waste movement, and it reminded me of an experience that I had a couple months ago.
Mhm.
And my parents have a big 60-inch widescreen TV, flat screen, really nice.
Yeah.
And a couple months ago, it finally broke.
Okay.
And one of the grandkids accidentally threw a toy into the center of it, and it shattered the glass on the inside. But it was like 5 years old. It was probably going to die out anyways. It was starting to lose pixels, so.
Oh, okay, yeah. It was kind of on the way out anyway. But.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, that just means we get a new TV. So they were okay with that. But being the electronics person that I am, I'm like, well, let's see if we can find any use for it. And if we can't, let's see if we can, recycle it properly. Because that's a huge TV.
Yeah.
And so first of all, I was like, all right, this is playground time for me. I gotta take this thing apart, see if there's anything I want from the inside, that type of thing, any circuits.
Wait,
such.
so you opened up the TV?
Yeah. And started pulling out the boards from the back.
I don't think I didn't even halfway cross my mind to do with a TV that was broken. My first thought was recycle, but like salvage from the TV, like the TV. Okay.
So keep in mind, I teach physics. So
okay, yeah.
having circuit boards are nice to show students.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm not really planning on using the boards for like building something. I don't build
okay.
robots from broken TV screens.
So it's not you're not pillaging the stuff to reuse it to like build a.
But more to like show like this is what's in the back of your TV when I talk to students, because it's kind of fun to say like here's the the board that programs the LED panel.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I can get on board with that. I was sitting there thinking you were gonna pull the back of the TV off, take the circuit boards out, and like reuse the circuitry. And
build a smaller TV.
Right, build a smaller TV. Right. Like
with the non-broken glass from the first TV. If I could do that, I could make a lot of money. Actually, probably not. TVs are so cheap.
Yeah,
probably still build or buy new ones.
I think that would, yeah.
Anyways, so the first thing I did was pillage from the TV.
Okay. Yeah.
After that, I was like, okay, what else can you use the TV for? And I found some like interesting uses. Like people have built coffee tables out of TVs before.
Yeah.
And it's actually not that hard because they already have those big, huge bolts that would go in for the mounts if you put it on your wall.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so people just buy table legs, often like metal ones that have the bolts in them anyways. And so they just
the right size of threading, and you just pop it on.
Yeah, and then it just is like a coffee table.
Weird.
Yeah.
It's just like a TV, like a Panasonic coffee table.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. That's just what I needed.
So I was like, I was going to do that. But the problem is that TV is a little bit older, and it was just so heavy.
Okay.
And so like I was tempted to do it just for fun, like, make a coffee table.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just like, no, we're still not going to have a use for it because it's so heavy. And the other thing was that a lot of people, they do that when the TV has just burned out and the glass panel's still solid.
Right. The glass isn't just shattered.
Yeah.
Inside
And so ours was shattered. And there's actually a film on top that holds in the glass. So even if the glass is broken, you couldn't just like, kind of like on cell phones, right? When the glass is broken, people aren't like constantly cutting their fingers on that glass because there's a layer on the end. There's a layer in front.
That makes. I didn't really think about that. That would be terrible if like you drop your phone and then you don't notice that it's cracked. You go to swipe and it's just blood everywhere. You're like, ah! Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Most of the time, you're not breaking that first layer. You're breaking the glass on the inside.
Right.
So that's the same thing with our TV. So I was like, well, it'd probably still be safe, but like my parents' house, we have grandkids around all the time. It's like, I just don't feel safe having a broken glass panel, inside
just
this.
Laying around. Yeah.
Even though it was inside 2 panels on either side, but still, I'm just like, we probably just don't want to keep this around.
Right.
After I'd done all my experimentation, pillaging, and all such things, I was finally like, all right, let's just get this thing recycled.
Yeah. Take it to the recycling center.
And I was horrified to find out that most places that recycle computers will not recycle TVs.
What? Why not?
Yeah.
But that's... Why not?
Because the relative amount of circuitry is the part they're recycling.
Okay.
And so the part I was taking out myself and pillaging is the stuff they would normally have taken out.
Right.
But it's not enough circuitry to justify taking the TV itself.
The whole TV.
At least that's my understanding. Maybe there's other aspects to it.
Right.
But most places would not recycle broken TVs. And
what?
This is kind of horrifying to me to think about, because even without the circuit boards, there's still a lot of electrical components inside the LED like film screen that's lighting up the TV. You know, and
that's stuff you don't want just laying around in a landfill.
Yeah, and plus, you can take glass and other things to recycle plants and that type of thing, and there's plenty of glass on the TV.
Yeah.
But I mean, the point of this all is to say, like, what are we doing? Like, there's like tons of crap in broken TVs that should not just be thrown in a landfill. You know?
Right.
And so again, like, I'm not a huge like recycler, but I mean,
large 60-inch electronic panels.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have TVs, and we don't have any reasonable way of disposing of them. Like, that is a little bit horrifying for me to think about.
That's terrible. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. I wish recycling was substantially easier. And I've heard of places where it's a lot easier, like Canada, and actually in Hawaii it was pretty easy too.
Oh yeah,
because there's like you get money back for
for
donating your bottles. That's one of the the places where like glass bottles have the little 5-cent HI stamp on it, and it's like you just take your bottles to the recycling center, and everyone uses the recycle. And like here in America, I just get so frustrated because there's not an easy way to recycle things.
Right.
There's not a recycling bin that you can put stuff in, or it's not a simple process. You have to pay a lot more, and you have to do a lot of extra work to get the recycling done. I think it would be good to shift everything we do and definitely have more people do it.
Yeah.
But I wish it was easier.
Yeah. Especially with electronics, even though there are some places where you can recycle, again, kind of like you're saying, the way it's set up right now, even if the electronic place I was thinking of would have taken broken TVs, the one I was thinking of is still about 30 minutes away from here. So if you're not right in the cities of America, it's really hard to recycle that stuff, So, if you live in a rural area, you're lucky if recycling is even available. And if you have a broken TV or any of the broken electronics, you
got to start driving.
Yeah, you're just going to drive 2 hours to get to a place where you can go. It's like, So I guess the question is, without totally revamping the entire American recycling system, or I guess maybe if we still need to, that's good too. But
I think that's the solution.
But any other thoughts or ideas on how to improve the setup?
No. It's reworked though. I got one. You just have a chute in the floor, Or yeah. A chute in the floor that goes to a conveyor belt system that connects all houses, kind of like a sewer system, but for recycled goods.
I can be down with that.
That'd be easy. Just take it straight to the landfill. I don't want to bother with a bin and sorting and all this other stuff. Let's pay somebody to do that. I'll just send it all via conveyor belt system.
Yeah. Well, even one thing I've always thought about is, could you take the regular garbage system?
Mm-hmm.
Don't even think about recycling, right? You just throw everything in the garbage system.
Okay.
And we can recycle a lot of metals and a lot of electronic stuff, right?
Yeah.
I almost wonder if you could just like pre-process everything that's going to the landfill.
Yeah.
And just have a giant magnet that just sucks everything from the regular garbage that's coming in that is recyclable.
Right.
That's easy. I feel like that would be pretty easy to do for metal, especially since a lot of the metal that is recyclable is magnetic.
Yeah.
Like electronics can vary depending on the type,
Right.
but at least for like just simple metals, that would work. So I've always wondered, could you do that with glass somehow?
Make a glass magnet.
Yeah, a glass magnet. That would be awesome.
And a plastics magnet. Recyclable plastics magnet.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. You're the physics guy. I don't know anything about this. I'm on board. I think that'd be amazing.
Because if you could do that, that'd be awesome. Because then you wouldn't have to think about the recycling. It just would naturally occur. Well, not naturally, but it would occur just by everything that gets processed in the landfill. You put it through a conveyor belt system and force it to be.
There's got to be something in nature that sorts out glass. Not naturally. Naturally would work great. You just, I don't know.
Now my physics brain is turning incredibly fast right now, seeing if I can think of any.
Is there any way to magnetize glass?
Well, you can magnetize glass, but you'd magnetize everything else in the process.
Oh yeah, that's true. What if we sold stuff? What if all glass was magnetized before manufacturing?
Sorry.
I come up with like a half a reasonable solution in my brain, and David just starts laughing at me, like it was a stupid idea.
No, I'm sorry. I wasn't laughing at the idea itself. There are problems with that, but I was laughing at the visualization because most glass bottles go in fridges,
right?
And the outside of fridges are magnetized. So.
What? Oh yeah, that's true. Easy. So you can just stick your glass bottle right on the fridge. Oh, kids are in the way, and you need the countertop space. Just boop, pop it on the fridge. Easy.
The other problem is glass is not designed to be magnetized, so it doesn't hold the magnetism for very long.
Oh really?
That's the physics problem. I just was thinking of the visualization of just glass flying across the room and sticking to magnetic surfaces.
You set a glass bottle down on the countertop, and it just wunk and
shatters as it hits
on the fridge. Blam! Like, oh, why'd you do that? You'd have to put like a piece of tape on the countertop where it was too close to the fridge, and that wouldn't work.
I guess we could try and permanently magnetize glass. I'd have to think of all the physics implications of that. I don't think you can do that permanently for glass. I may be wrong. If we find out you could, that may be interesting to think about. Change our way of life so that we work with magnetic glass bottles.
Magnetic glass bottle.
And magnetic plastic. Could you do it with plastic? Huh. I don't know.
He's saying I don't know. What he means is, nah, there's no way. It's not possible. It's not happening anytime soon.
That's a little bit fair.
He's just trying to save my feelings.
I don't know means I'm like 70% sure that won't work, but there's a slight bit of me that's uncertain.
It's not like the I don't know in my brain, where my brain goes I don't know, and it's like, but I don't know. It's possible. Anything's possible. Your I don't know is probably not. I don't know meaning I don't know, and so nobody knows.
It reminds me of my favorite saying. Kids, remember this. Nothing is impossible, but it is not very likely.
True.
So,
this is true.
That's my final answer to this proposition.
Okay. I like it.
So I don't think we presented any reasonable solutions, but
Actually, one just came to mind. I don't know. What if we make the bottoms of the bottles and stuff magnetic? Can you get like different magnetic frequencies? Is that even a thing?
magnetic frequencies?
No.
No.
I don't know what I'm talking about, obviously. But like a way to like program, like have like, so here's my idea.
Okay.
Bottle, and you just put a little metal plate on the bottom of the bottle that's magnetic. So when you're running it through the magnet system, your glass bottles and your plastic bottles stick to the magnets. But what if you had like, you have to have some way to sort between them. Like you don't want to have people just sitting there just like, or monkeys came to mind too. You could do it with monkeys, but like glass and plastic, like having to pull the glass and plastic bottles off of the magnetic conveyor. Is there a way to like?
So this is a really weird solution. Always probably a really lame one, but if it's just separating plastics from glass, what if you always put the north side of the magnet on the glass and always the south side of the magnet on the plastic?
So it just,
and then you have different polarized magnets for the separation.
It's genius.
A huge coordination system.
That's genius, David. You're a genius. That would work perfectly. So then we use a little bit more metal, and we can reuse the metal bits because we'll just pop them off after we're done. And then the glass is easy to sort through, and the plastics are easy to sort through, and you just put little metal dots on little magnetized metal dots on everything.
There's only one problem with that.
Okay.
Any metal would just go everywhere.
That's true. That's true. Dang.
I don't know. It was just a funny visualization in my mind.
Here's another idea. So, garbage trucks are like a great big trash compactor.
Right.
What if in trash cans, what we have is a standardized divider system. So most of the trash can is for regular trash, and then there's a slot for plastics and a slot for glass.
Okay.
And a big part of when the trash truck comes, it puts a chute onto the, or it has some way to like direct the flows. So you put your glasses and your plastics in the small one and your trash in the big one, and what happens, it picks it up and it dumps it in the back, and the glasses are put with glass and the plastics are put with plastics, and the trash is put in the trash compactor. There's like a new subsections for the glasses and the plastics.
How about this? This is way too complex. But
Okay.
Stay with me for a second. So, how about in the trash can itself?
Okay.
There is a giant magnet, okay, on the sides of your of your trash can itself, and it's an electromagnet. So I don't know how we're powering this, but
batteries were great.
So it takes the trash can up. Oh, how about it's powered by the truck?
Okay,
As it clamps
it just
on,
connects.
it powers it.
Yeah.
Turns on this electromagnet, and it pours all the regular stuff into the trash can. But we still have the magnetic glass and plastic.
Right,
so the glass, the plastics, and the metals
still stuck on.
are still stuck on. They fall. Everything else falls into the trash compactor.
Yeah.
Then it moves the trash can over to a separate slot.
Right.
And
just
then
shifts it over
drops all the recycling
into the recycle bin.
Yeah, and then it separates the glass and the plastics. I guess it could do it later, but
yeah.
But then the compactor is separating that part out for you because it just turns off and on the electromagnet inside of your garbage can.
No, that's until like you park a car too close to your trash can, and the trash truck goes to grab it and turns on the electromagnet. Car goes smashes into the trash truck, and then your car.
It wouldn't have to be that strong.
Oh,
well,
I was hoping it would be that strong.
That's true. If we wanted to like pull metal through garbage bags, right?
Yeah, I'd have to but we'd probably have to have like a no garbage bag policy at that. You'd have to like empty your garbage bag into the
or
trash
just
can.
make it so strong that it just rips apart anything.
Bags just are just torn to pieces, and I like that.
Yeah.
I can get on board with that.
Anyways, so just pre-separate it before it even gets to the landfill. You know.
Yeah, that's easy. You just dump it all out into the proper slots.
I'm still trying to figure out the way to get rid of the metal before the rest of the stuff. But
Oh yeah.
I'm like trying to think of this like elaborate system where like you turn on the north side magnet and then you turn on a south side magnet and then like you have some elaborate system to get those separated and then the metal falls through and I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
But I think it can be done. There's gotta be a way to engineer this.
There's always a way. There's a million ways for everything, and that's one of the ways.
And we're completely ignoring paper here, but
we can't ignore paper, David. The rainforest's paper must be recycled.
That one I feel is easy enough to have like a separate bin.
The paper, you're like, just put it in a separate bin.
No, I feel like for example, a lot of schools around here have like a paper recycling bin you can go to, and you don't have enough paper throughout the day that you're constantly throwing paper in. So like, for example, when I'm at the school's great about, okay, like all your old assignments, just put it in this bin and we'll go. You know, so it's easy to do like a group. Let's throw all the paper in there at one time.
Right, that makes sense. Okay.
Whereas like, I'm not gonna save plastic bottles and stuff like that in my room and glass bottles.
Right. If there are bins, it's doable. But man, we're just a bunch of lazy sacks. We should just do the extra work to save the world for realsies.
Doesn't mean we can't make it easier.
That's true. I agree, 100%.
All right, I'll get working on that electrically magnetic inducted garbage can. And you start by putting the south and north side magnets on every possible glass bottle.
Every possible. I'll just get some E6000 and just start popping it on there.
You're at the grocery store. Sir, what are you doing? Saving the world, man.
Saving the
You're
world.
grabbing bottles and sticking magnets on them.
We could put a little like picture of the world onto the magnet so that you pick it up and it just says "Save the World" with a little picture of the world, and you just go through all the bottles and just pop. I like it.
The guy at the grocery store. Boss, are we gonna stop him? I don't know.
No, maybe. I don't know.
Is he harming anyone? No. Let's see how long it takes him for him to get bored.
Perfect. So, I love tamales. They're so yummy. I talk about food a lot on this podcast. I like tamales. And we got some one time, and they were delicious. And then tamales is not something I like seek for, like I look for, but just a couple months ago, I was thinking, man, I could go for some tamales. Like I could go for some good tamales, but I don't want to go to like a restaurant and order them. Like that's kind of that's weird. Like why would I go order tamales? Like that's weird.
I don't think that's weird at all. But
so
continue on.
So it's just I realized this after all this happened, exactly why it's weird. But I was going, and like a couple weeks after that, I had been thinking about tamales off and on for several weeks. So we go to the supermarket, and we're sitting in the car, and we see a guy outside with bags, these big Ziploc bags, and something clicked in my head, and I was like, "Are those tamales?" We hop out of the car, and the dude is selling these bags of, I think like 12 tamales for like $10 or something like that. He's just a dude in a parking lot with like 2 Ziploc bags, 3 Ziploc bags, like all the different flavors of tamale, and he's like, "Tamales, $10?" And I was like, "Heck yeah, I'm all over this." I had a $10 bill. I was so happy. I had a $10 bill. I pull it out. I was like, "Here is my $10," and I got my bag of tamales, and everything was wonderful. and then we ate them, and they were delicious. And I realized that tamales, like when they come to me, that's when they're the most wonderful. That's the most delicious tamale, is when they just like I can't seek them out. If I seek them out, they're not going to be as good. Because I had some at one time at a restaurant. I went to a restaurant and they just weren't. I ate them, but it just wasn't that amazing. But like parking lot tamales, called, like knew that they needed to come to me. and knew that I needed them.
If you let it go and it returns, then it means it's yours, right?
Exactly. So we ate the bag of tamales, and that's all. That's my story. I just you have to wait for tamales. You have to wait till they come to you. That's
So, first of all, how did you spot out tamales from across a parking lot in Ziploc bags?
so, sorry. He wasn't across the park. He was like 10 feet from the car.
I think you're underestimating. You probably saw those from a good half a mile away.
No. I think the tamales saw me from half a mile away.
They called to you. Yeah. You were actually on the road driving, and you sensed something in the air.
Yeah.
And that's when you turned exactly to see.
Exactly. It's just, it has to be a thing in nature to just, when the tamales come to you, then it'll be the most wonderful experience. But if you go searching, you won't find. They won't be there.
I don't know what to say.
And you think,
because I have not experienced this great, beautiful moment when a tamale comes to you.
So here's the lesson to take from this. The next time that you see a dude in a parking lot selling tamales and you think, man, how long have those been out of the fridge? Don't think about any of that. Buy the tamales and eat them and be happy. That's the moral of the story.
But a quick side note, when you see a man in a parking lot with Ziploc bags, make sure he's selling tamales before you go over.
Before you go try to start buying stuff?
Yeah. Just to be warned.
That's all. I just wanted to tell you that story of parking lot tamales.
I'm glad the tamales called to you and that you enjoyed them.
Thank you.
I will look forward to the day when such things happen to
Don't
me.
worry, my friend. One day the tamales will call you and you'll go to them.
So, Aaron, I have one last question for you.
Okay.
Did we actually solve any problems in this episode, or was it all follow-up and speculation? I guess we did the lockers and the trash can.
Yeah, the trash cans.
All right.
Recycling.
All right.
Problem to be solved. And we know exactly magnets. That's how we're going to solve recycling.
All right. So we got at least one in.
Yeah.
I think we have to make that at least a limit so we don't go meandering too far. Or not a limit, a quota. We need a quota of at least one.
I agree 100%. I think magnets are the solution to most of life's problems. So I think that'll be the solution.
But the key is knowing which ones go with the north side and which ones go with the south side.
If you mess it up, then we're in big trouble. Big trouble.